Next up, being a farmer always comes with stress, but it seems like this year, with the weather and market uncertainty, the anxiety was even more noticeable. Susan Harris-Broomfield is a Nebraska Extension educator focused on rural health, wellness, and safety. We spoke to get an idea of how serious farm depression and suicide is.
Unfortunately, it is quite prevalent. It's an industry where there are a lot of pressures: the weather, the unknown markets, family issues. All of these things can collapse onto a farmer or a rancher, and it's one of the higher rated suicide occupations.
Do you find that it's hard for people in the ag community to reach out for help?
Absolutely, and for several reasons.
Okay.
The two main reasons are stigma and accessibility. You know, in Nebraska in general, there is still a definite stigma with mental health, and even the word mental brings up negative images. When it's health, it's just like physical health, there is mental health, and we have to take care of both. But it's difficult for us to think about that in Nebraska, and especially with our farmers and ranchers who are tough, they're strong, they're used to taking care of themselves. They're not used to asking for help. They don't want to ask for help. And more importantly, with that stigma is that they would have to be seen, their pickup or their vehicle would be in front of the counselor's office, and they don't want that. They don't think it's, a healthy thing to have happen to them.
How do we go about changing that perception?
Oh gosh, I think more information out there is crucial. I think the more we educate, the more people understand that mental health is just like physical health. We all have issues, we all need to deal with them. And even if you have to start with your doctor, because accessibility is really difficult in Nebraska. If you go to your doctor with a physical condition, it might very well be related to a mental issue going on. And I'm hoping that doctors out there will be asking the correct questions to dig into these issues.
What are some signs that family members can look for?
For depression?
Yeah.
Definitely changes in mood, changes in behavior, changes in the way that a person goes about their day. Are they able to live and love and laugh like they used to, or do they seem like they're more in a box and more isolated and not doing their social things that they used to go out and do? If they had a coffee club every week, are they still doing that, or are they kind of just being a hermit at home? Those kinds of things.
And for family members left behind after a suicide, do you find that they're at a higher risk for suicide themselves, or just more problems in their life in general?
Yes, and I can't remember the statistic offhand, but there is a statistic that says that if the family member left behind does not get help or support within a certain amount of time, their risk is much higher for suicide and for mental health and physical health issues. It's really important. People don't think about that when someone dies, and especially by suicide. Everybody's there all at once to help, and that's great. Support is great. But then everybody goes home, and they kind of forget about this person, and they leave that issue behind. And I think it's important to just keep checking up with that person and make sure they have a support system, and hopefully even some professional help if necessary.
What are some resources that Extension provides to help with suicide, depression, things like that?
Well, at Extension, we have recently formed a mental health work group to work on just collecting every resource that we are aware of. We're bringing in outside sources to our work group, so it's not just Extension people. And we've put together a list that you can find on our website at extension.unl.edu. And so if you were to look into that site, you would find this list it's called Staying Connected During Tough Times. And it lists resources that many people don't know about, like our Rural Response Hotline. It offers attorneys, financial help, counselors, mediators, just all kinds of issues, and maybe some free vouchers for services for certain people. So that's a great one. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, the Veterans Crisis Line, Boys Town, and then there's another one that a lot of people do not know about. It's called LOSS, L-O-S-S, and that's for local outreach to suicide survivors. And that's for people who have suffered a suicide in their life. And this particular group has teams of individuals, professionals around the state, about 10 of them, I think, and they are sent out to talk with people who have lost someone due to suicide, and they are the best support you can imagine. So you can Google that one and find it online.